Dun 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 dun. Hi everyone, I'm here today to talk to you about Jaws. Jaws the novel versus Jaws the film. Now, this is going to, and normally my reviews don't have spoilers in them. Today there will be a lot of spoilers. I'm going to assume that you know what Jaws is about, and I'm going to assume that you know the plot of the movie. If you for some reason don't, and you don't want to know about the plot of Jaws, then click off now, because I am going to have some spoilers in this. So this is a comparison between which one's better, the book, the movie. So I've decided to pick a few movies that are my favourite movies and read the books that they were inspired by and compare. And this one was very interesting. Didn't know there was a cat in here. I'll start by saying that Jaws the book was pretty different to Jaws the movie. We have a lot of different character development that we don't have in the movie. For example, Ellen Brody, Brody's wife, plays a large part in this novel, whereas she isn't actually a huge part of the movie. She's sort of just there as Brody's backup, just to sort of portray him as a really good family man who's just been thrown into this horrible sort of sharky nightmare. And in the book, it's completely different. Ellen has her own subplot, she has her own sort of development, and yeah, I'll get more into that soon. One of the things that I will say is that this book I did give 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed reading it, I found it be interesting, and I thought it was, it sort of felt like an alternate universe Jaws. So if Jaws had happened in an alternative universe with the same people, but with slightly different personalities and things like that, this would be what would happen. And it was almost sort of a behind the scenes of Jaws, so it felt like maybe some deleted scenes of the movie, because there are different deaths in this, there are different moments that we see the shark, and there's different moments in the movie that we see the shark. One thing I will say is that this book, even though it pretty much promises all this sort of sharky goodness that you would expect, there wasn't that much sharky goodness in it. In the Jaws movie, we have a lot of emphasis on Brody taking on this shark, and this shark that is terrorising the town, and basically that's what the movie's about. You go to see Jaws because you want to know about the shark. And this book centres a lot about corruption within a small town, and there are some character developments that I wasn't into, such as, for example, the mayor of the town. So like I said, this is going to be a spoiler. The mayor of the town in the Jaws the movie is a little bit of an idiot. He wants the beaches open on the 4th of July because he can't miss the revenue for the actual island, because the 4th of July is where they make their money, a lot of it. And the summer revenue is what keeps the town sort of going through the winter and keeps the sort of the island going. So they do need their summer revenue. So you can understand his argument for opening the beaches on the 4th of July in the movie. Whereas in this, the argument for the 4th of July is still there. Let's open the beaches for the 4th of July. The town needs the revenue. And that's where I feel like it should have stopped. But then somehow we have, the mayor has all sort of mafia links. So the mafia are out to get him, the mafia want money from him, and that, it just doesn't really play out very well. So it doesn't develop more than just sort of an idea that the mafia are out to get Larry, the mayor. And it's sort of clumsily done, in my opinion. I wasn't really a fan of that. So I think it should have been left as it was in the movie, where it is just basically just for the town, because it sort of complicated things a bit with this random mafia subplot. We've got a moment where, again, spoiler alert, but Brody wants to keep the beaches closed because, I mean, Jaws. So Brody wants to shut the beaches. He doesn't want anybody else getting chomped and munched on. So he's going around doing his Brodiness, you know, let's keep everything shut, let's keep everybody alive sort of thing. And Larry's doing his Larry, where he's like, no, everybody, let's get these beaches open, let's get everybody eating, it doesn't really matter, as long as we make our money on our ice cream sales, we're good. So we've got all that going on. But then because we've got the mafia links, things get dark. So Brody goes home, and his wife is all upset, and they've got a dead cat, and for some reason the mafia have turned up in front of Brody's son, turned his cat's head back to front, murdered his cat, and nothing else is really said from that. So he goes really angry with his dead cat to Larry, and he's obviously furious that his cat's been murdered, but that's as far as that goes, and the cat's never mentioned again. So like I say, I didn't really feel like it was a subplot that really developed well. It sort of felt a little bit clumsily done and sort of like just an added layer of danger. The opening pages of Jaws start playing out as if Jaws, the actual fish itself, shark itself, is going to have its own voice and its own thoughts and feelings, because we're introduced to the shark through the shark's eyes and what the shark is seeing and feeling, and how the shark's body works, and it's a little bit sort of scientific, and it's just very different to the movie. And so we are sort of treated to that, and obviously a shark attack, which is how Jaws the movie starts as well. But the shark is then dropped off the face of the planet, but it's sort of mentioned now and then, but then we develop the characters from there instead. And there are a few huge differences. So obviously if you're a fan of the movie, you'll know about Hooper, who comes and he is there to make friends with Brody. They go out with Quinn on the boat, and they're all out to catch the shark. And Hooper's sort of like a younger marine biologist or ichthyologist, I think he is, and he studies sharks and he's really into sharks. And he meets Ellen Brody, and she's very sort of friendly towards him in the movie, and then they carry on, and that's as far as it goes. In the book, however, it turns out that there's a whole backstory with Hooper. Ellen Brody used to go out with Hooper's brother, so Ellen already knows Hooper, and Hooper already knows Ellen. And then an affair develops between the two of them, and obviously Hooper and Brody therefore hate each other. So they're not friends. You haven't got the camaraderie that you do have in the movie, which I missed. And I wasn't a fan of Ellen Brody cheating on Chief Brody. For me, it didn't add anything to the book. In fact, it made it a little bit uncomfortable, especially as the sort of foreplay conversation between the two is bizarre. Very bizarre. Let me find it. So, let me set the scene. Ellen has decided that she wishes to have an affair with Hooper. So she's orchestrated a meal where they've gone out together, and they're in a seafood restaurant and they're debating what they're going to eat. And then somebody mentions a prostitute, and then this occurs. That's supposed to be every schoolgirl's fantasy, she ventured playfully. What is? To be a, you know, a prostitute. Is it? I'm going to say I was a schoolgirl for quite a while, and had a lot of schoolgirl friends, and I don't ever remember anybody mentioning that they really would love to be a prostitute. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that's going. But anyway, they continue down that uncomfortable road for a while, and start talking about fantasies and things. And then Ellen comes out with this corker. Oh yeah, just the standard things. Rape, I guess, is one. And then Brody wants to know how it happens, and they start getting into some bizarre rape fantasy. So, I mean, I wasn't prepared for that, and I think, I mean, that was just a little bit hardcore for a sort of a first sort of meeting where they've just gone on this first date. I've never heard of that happening before. But I mean, I might just be really prudish, but I mean, another thing I'll mention is that none of the characters in this are likeable. So in the movie, you've got Brody, who is sort of your working class hero, and he does everything for his family. He's a family man. He's got a lovely family with him. Ellen's nice in the movie, and he's got his sons, and they sort of play a big role in it. And we see Brody sort of run into the water to save his son from the shark, and that sort of plays out again in Jaws 2. In this, nobody's likeable. Brody's a bit of an arse. He's really moody. He can't help picking fights with Ellen all the time, and he just seems happy to put her down. Ellen is extremely unhappy in her marriage. She is not pleased with a lot, and that plays out. Hooper is a bit of an idiot, and he's not likeable. Quinn isn't likeable in the movie. He's much less likeable in the book. He's vicious, violent, and some of the things that he does to animals on the boat are obscene, and I found that upsetting. So just none of the characters got my sympathy. None of the characters I really liked, and if it hadn't been for my deep love of the movie, I don't think I would have liked Jaws the book as much. There's also, I know it was written a long time ago, I think it was written the back end of the 60s or the early 70s, but whenever it was written, there are some very choice words in here and some very casual racism. So we've got like a subplot where everybody's talking about a black man who is raping loads of white women on the island. And then there are some words used that I found to be quite shocking, because you don't sort of hear them in civilized conversation these days, at least I don't. You've got the F word, which I'm not going to say, but the F word that is used to sort of uses a derogatory term for gay people. That is used in this, which I found a little bit shocking. And there are some random points where people are pointed out to be black for no apparent reason. So you've got a part where someone is saying a black man is putting his son to bed, and his skin colour has absolutely no relevance on the story, and I don't know why it was pointed out, because the rest of the story isn't pointed out as a white man does this, a white man does that, and a black man does this. No, it's literally just the black characters that are pointed out as being black. And it's a bit nonsensical and makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. So for that reason, even though I enjoyed reading it because, like I say, I'm such a huge fan of the movie, and this felt like a bit of the deleted scenes / alternate universe Jaws, because of that I enjoyed the book, and I did give it 4 out of 5 stars, and I did find it quite an entertaining read. But there are a lot of problems with this, and had I not enjoyed the film so much, I think this would have been a lot, I think this would have lost a few stars. But saying that, it was an enjoyable read. So I'm not sure whether I would recommend reading Jaws the novel to you. I would say if you're a fan of the movie, I would go for it. If you really like the movie and you've watched it countless times like I have, this can only sort of enhance your enjoyment of the film. Because for me, I felt like it sort of added something, like a couple of little sort of tidbits, but then again, there are certain parts of it that I'm just going to pretend I never heard and pretend never happened, like the Ellen Brody scene. I'm just going to pretend that that never ever happened and never shall it be mentioned again. But that was Jaws the novel versus Jaws the movie, and I have to say this time movie wins, which is unusual. I normally pick the books, but movie wins this time. So if you've read Jaws the novel, let me know. If you're a fan of Jaws, let me know. If you think Ellen Brody's weird fantasy chat is a bit odd, let me know, because bear in mind, this isn't a long-term relationship where she's letting her deepest, darkest fantasies out. No, this is a first sort of solo meeting with a man that she hasn't seen since he was a child, trying to establish an affair, and comes out with that. So let me know if you think that's a little bit odd, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.